Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Starting Point. So, Aisha, as you know right now, today, we're celebrating something special, right?
Yeah.
Which is, what are we wearing?
We are wearing batik, and batik has been not only a national heritage, but it's an identity of our culture
Yes,
as
exactly.
Indonesians, and we are very, very proud. Like if we go somewhere and then we see someone who's not Indonesian or even Asian wears batik,
Batik.
and we would like,
Wow.
that's from our country.
Yeah, I'm so proud to
Yeah.
have all those legacies that
Yep.
passed down through generations. So, speaking of batik, if you want to know more about this, so we're having our special guest for today.
We have Putra Putri Batik Nusantara.
A very good morning to everyone. It's good to see you guys.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to share about batik today.
Okay, that's great. And we also would like to know more the POV from the younger generations about batik. Maybe for us at the same age, more or less,
Gen Z.
we know how to view batik as the cultural heritage, especially between millennials and Gen Z. But the younger generation maybe still see it as a old culture, old heritage. It's just a heritage, even though now we have social media, we have batik everywhere displayed on the film, the video, music videos per se, and it's everywhere. But how do you see it? Is it something that it's on a mission for you as Putra Putri Batik Nusantara?
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think it is a huge task for us young generations. Of course, it's not easy to educate that, especially to even the younger generations like Gen Alpha, right? But I think I've heard more and more that actually now they are looking into like thrifting, vintage clothing. So with that, I think I would just seep in the idea that, you know, batik can also be classic and trendy at the same time. It can be vintage, but also modern at the same time. So I think that can be an option as well for even the younger generation. And beyond fashion, I think we need to also be proud of how special Indonesian batik is, because it's not just about how we see it visually, but actually the definition of batik itself is the process. So many people don't know this. They think when they see a pattern of batik, then they just automatically call it batik, but it's actually the process of creating the batik using wax or lilin, or malam we call it, using canting, or now there's also the stamped batik with cap. So it's actually the process itself that can be very lengthy, meticulous, takes a lot of patience, can take months or even years. So if we understand that process, it really helps us and the younger generation to be, I think, more respectful towards batik and see it as part of our identity.
Yeah, and then to value it more. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and as we can see that actually the younger generation now, they are very honest about their opinion, you know. Like when they love something or they don't love something, they will like speak up. But then what I realized is that the younger generation tend to have like a unique trend. They used to wear the batik fabric with the berkain kind of style, the drapery style, you know, because as we can see, some of our influencers and artists are also juga, they are also wearing those kind of fashion. That's why the followers, the fans were also following the trend, you know. And I think that's a really good sign that actually the younger generation is really care about our culture, and they don't only wear the batik fabric, but they also try to learn about what is it all about, what is the story behind, and they have like huge amount of curiosity. That's, I think, one of the good thing about the Gen Zs. Even though I'm not Gen Z, I'm millennial. Maybe Salma, yes.
I'm Zillennial.
Doesn't look like that.
Yeah, because Salma started this journey in 2018 as Putri Batik Nusantara. She was like coming back from England back then.
Yes.
And when she was studying in the UK, she was like wearing batik all the time.
Yeah.
When I was starting this like far way back ago in 2012, So,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm not Gen Z, maybe I cannot relate to you. But then now I'm becoming the Chief Operating Officer of the Ikatan, of the
Okay.
foundation of our community. So Salma and our Putra Putri are like working really hard to speak more about Batik.
Oh, that's so
Okay.
nice. Speaking about this
Sash.
Putra, the
Yeah.
sash, could you explain to us more about what is PPBN actually? I mean, what is the vision, mission, like in a brief way?
Yeah. So back then in 2009, UNESCO was like awarding Indonesia with the intangible heritage, right, for Batik. But then we see that there is no movement from the young generation in order to preserve the Batik. Meanwhile, young generation is the determinator which is Batik will be preserved or not. That's why on 2011, initiated by Bapak Dr. Saptan Rumandar from Kemenparekraf, they were like initiating some kind of movement in which they created Ikatan Pencinta Batik Nusantara in order to create a program so that we can grab young generation in order to start to work for Batik. But then we think, how can we ask young generation in order to preserve or to do something that is back then still looks so old and so antique, you know. So they were thinking that we think we have to create some kind of pageantry so that we can like attract the younger generation in order to come being confident about themselves, believing in themselves, and then when they are elected becoming the finalists, that's the moment when we will inject all of the knowledge, all of the experiences,
Yeah.
so that we understand and we value Batik more. Even we are willing in order to do something more dedicative about the Batik itself.
Yeah. If I can share more about like being a finalist in Putra Putri Batik, I think of course it is packaged as a pageant, but I think the experience itself is non like other pageants. Yeah, I feel like it's more, the quarantine is like a training camp that really empowers us to be an effective advocate for Batik. So as Kak Bayu mentioned, I wasn't like, to be honest, I wasn't the most knowledgeable about Batik at first. I was just a normal city girl, like born in Bandung, raised in Jakarta, and then what happened was I went to study in the UK, and then I started to wear Batik just casually, like going to classes, going to coffee shops, and every single time there will always be someone like admiring what I wear, asking what this is, and sometimes I reflect on myself like, oh, I don't even know like what I'm wearing, so then I have to learn, right? And from that, like I started to search more about Batik, found out about Putra Putri Batik, I joined, and from there, I learned so much. Like there's a lot of workshops, we meet like experts, I learned how to make Batik, so it was a really great experience, and even now, like, it's been 12 years for you, right? It's been 6 years for me, and we are still here advocating for Batik.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's also affiliated with the tourism and creative economy. It's under the ministry.
Yeah, we're always being supported by the Ministry
Okay.
of the Tourism and Creative Economy.
And it's been, it's the 10th year.
Yes,
now.
exactly.
You're
So-
entering the 10th year, and you are opening for this 2024.
Yes, because we were like doing the election, the pageantry, like annually from 2011 up until 2019. But then on 2020, we decided to take a hiatus because of the pandemic. We don't want to like celebrate something big and spectacular where people are suffering for their life.
Yeah.
So we choose to be empathetic and we try to put our sympathy for the world. Then after all of the pandemic gone and we are like bouncing back from our condition, this year, 2024, we are coming back with the PPBN 2024, and today we are about to announce the 28 finalists of PPBN 2024. Like this day, in this very Batik day.
Wow, so excited. I
Yeah.
mean, so talking about the next events, right? So is there any preparations as you already have the experience before? And then what is the most like kind of tough situation of you being the ambassador for the Batik? I mean, you must know everything about Batik, right? And then
That's a very...
Of course not. We have like 5,000 patterns, right?
yeah.
So of course
You
we cannot have it all.
memorize everything,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but I think, yes, we do have some annual events that we do every year. So we create the biggest Batik festival
Yes.
in Indonesia, Gebiar Batik Nusantara, and last time we did it in Kota Casablanca,
Yes.
yeah, at the mall. It's not just tenants of Batik, but also there's a lot of events and competitions like batik design competitions and fashion show, even like choir,
talk shows,
culture, music. So like we can gather as many people as possible in that festival, and of course that requires a lot of effort from our side as well, because to be honest, we have our own full-time work, right? Like all of us here are working voluntarily because we truly care about batik. So I think that's like one of the biggest issue as well. Like looking for people to be like, okay, please come today. Like we have a meeting, we have preparation and all that. But I think it shows how much care we have towards batik, right? Because even with all of our full-time jobs, we can still make time for it. And also we have like workshops. We're usually invited to be speaker and like teach younger kids how to make batik. I was invited even to like Singapore. My friends was invited to Dubai, to China. So it's an international advocacy, and it has been really fun for me.
And because all of our members are like spread it all across Indonesia, even some of our members also overseas, so it's kind of challenging in order to like connect all of them. But then being a creative director of PPB and myself, it's very challenging in order to balance between the creative ideas and the budgeting, for sure. How to like implement, execute all of the creative ideas. But then because we have support from our partners, like from the ministries, from the private sectors, so we are like working hand in hand all together in order to make it come true. And for the past like 13 years, we have gone to more than 25 countries all over the world in order to speak about batik itself. And also in Indonesia, we have like teach thousands of young generation in order to have the experience about how to make batik. Because once you try to create your own batik, then you will start to value batik in a different way.
Yeah, so you yourself has been through a lot. And it's a community based that you have one thing in common, one passion for batik, and then that connects you. And that's why, do you think it's one of the main factor that this can grow quite rapidly for these past 10 years? And I think it's a great tool as a communication tool to spread awareness about batik.
Thank you.
Not only to people all over the world, for internationally, but also in domestically and national. Like we also would want to know more about batik.
But one thing for sure that we have to remember, people always say that, oh, maybe preserving batik is a really huge task to do. But actually, every single one of us can do something small in order to support how to preserve batik. Because you know what is happening on the village, the batik maker, they don't have regeneration because their son, their children doesn't want to continue the business because they prefer to work in a mall or to work in a factory rather than to make batik, because they don't think that batik is profitable enough to support their life. You know, so when I have goosebumps, when you buy something really authentic, like maybe you cannot afford the batik tulis, the written one, maybe it's too expensive for some of Indonesians, but then you can actually buy the batik cap. It's like actually very affordable. When you buy something authentic, it's really like helpful for our pengrajin.
Can I share what we're wearing?
I was going to ask you
So
that.
this is from a brand called Omah Ethnic. The founder of Omah Ethnic is actually an alumni of Putra Putri Batik Nusantara. She's been doing this for 10 years now, 10 or 11 years. And as Kak Bayu mentioned, batik cap or stamp, this is an example of batik cap. So it still looks, I think, very pretty. And so this motif is more of a modern motif because she collaborated with a designer,
Wilson Willem. And so the motif itself, it's a pinwheel. So the collection is called Cyclus. It represents the cycle of life because the pinwheel keeps on moving, and it's how we as the viewers or someone who uses it, we reflect on how in life there's always ups and downs, there's good days and bad days, there's joy and sorrow, and how we can make the best out of
our past experience, our
Yeah.
past mistakes, regrets even. So even this modern motif has such a deep meaning.
Yep.
So it's not, I think it's not just simply, a fashion piece, but it can also be a prayer even. Like when I wear this, then, now I embrace all that in life that I've been through, right? So I think it's also inspiring to wear this. And I think I heard actually Kak Kiki, who is the founder of Omah Ethnic, told us that she sourced this batik cap from Pekalongan, and she mentioned how through Omah Ethnic, and a lot of people started to buy, and Omah Ethnic was just showcased in Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Was I don't know, wore or like just seen by Cara Delevingne. So like it was like such a huge brand right now, and it really impacted the people in Pekalongan. And like now there's more regeneration, and the people like really have more profit from making batik. So what we buy here in the city, it really impacts the people like who actually creates this from scratch. So yeah, I think it's an amazing feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like buying something and actually helping the local business.
Supporting life of others, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's what I personally like about batik too. Like every pattern has its own philosophy,
Exactly.
and I really agree with what Salma just said. Wearing batik, it's like wearing your own identity. It's like, what do you want to be today?
Yeah.
With batik, you can show it. You can have like a prayer with that cycle of life, that pattern, or something more traditional like what we are wearing. Even though I don't.
Parang.
Parang.
Now why is this the Putri Batik? She knows the batik.
That was my Q&A on final, so I remember that.
Yeah, because in one segment during the final night, all of the top 6 will be like challenge. So they will like pick a picture on the screen. We will show a batik pattern, and they have to explain about the batik pattern itself. Like they don't know what it's going to be, but they have to speak in front of Indonesia in order to explain the story of the batik pattern. And you get parang.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so amazing. I'm actually very excited about knowing all the philosophies about this, all these patterns and stuff. But before that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back to you after this break.
Yes, welcome back to Starting Point with us, Putra Putri Batik Nusantara. No, we are Putra Putri Batik of TVRI World for today because we are celebrating Indonesia National Batik Day. It's commemorated every 2nd of October, ever since 2009.
Yes.
I have to make sure with the experts. So we're still with the real Putra Putri Batik Nusantara with Bayu and also Salma. We were having a very fruitful conversation about batik off air, and now we are going to bring it on air as well.
Exactly.
And I believe Ferdi has been holding some questions to ask to Salma and also Bayu regarding the upcoming Putra Putri Batik Nusantara, the competition, the pageant.
Yeah, exactly. So, could you tell us more about the competition, the pageant? So, what is the most tough situation that you ever deal? Like questions, like is there any activities that you find it so hard to do because you're not used to like all this batik society, right? And then you have to deal with all these like the government people that treat batik as something very sacred, like you don't wear something random to any occasions. Do you have any experiences about that?
Yeah. So for sure, for every single finalist who have joined Putra Putri Batik Nusantara from the very first edition at 2011 up until today, I believe the most challenging situation was the preparation towards the quarantine, because we have to learn about the batik itself, how we understand the philosophy, the story of the batik pattern, because we have thousands of batik patterns in Indonesia. But then actually, even up until today, we cannot like understand all of the things because it's so many, but then at least we understand the basic knowledge, which means we have the classical batik pattern, and also we have the contemporary batik pattern, and how to identify which one is classic one, which one is the authentic one, which one is the print textile, which is not batik actually. That's the most important thing, how to tell the people the story, and also how to tell the people how to identify which one is the authentic one. But as the organizer, or as the ikatan who actually produced the pageant itself, the most challenging part is actually how that we can connect all of the dots from the partners, from the support from the government, from the private sectors, also from our alumni who are like spreading all over Indonesia, even overseas in several different countries, in order to put their ideas all together and implement all of the execution based on the budget that we have. Because IPBN being supported, but also we try to be financially independent by ourselves. So it's kind of challenging for us, young generation, in order to implement all of the programs. But then yet, for the past like 13 years, after doing the 10th edition of Putra Putri Batik, we still make it up until today.
Okay, so speaking of that, how many members exactly, more or less, in Putra Putri Batik Nusantara up until today?
Yeah, more than 250 alumni up until today. And it is really fortunate for us that our alumni is also working in different kind of industries, like from entertainment to governmental sectors and private sectors. Some of them are also working in New York at the Konjan. So we have some kind of variety of programs, variety of projects. Sometimes we use the batik itself for diplomacy, because when we attend some kind of events, we have to wear some kind of dress codes, and we have to respect, like you said, right? Respect the event, respect the people, the governmental people. But also, as we can see that many Indonesian, be it young generation or artists or maybe diplomats from all over Indonesia, like wearing batik as a tool in order to communicate to other people outside Indonesia, that showing the hospitality, the kindness, the rich culture of Indonesia through batik itself.
Yeah, I do that also myself. If I meet colleagues from all over the world, I would bring them something like batik. Either it's a scarf and people will love it so much, or slippers, even batik slippers. And now we have many forms of batik, not only the patterns, but also the things that we can give to someone. We can use it as a communication tool, as a friendship tool, like between countries. And this is like our culture. We are so proud to have batik, and as you said, we have so many patterns that maybe you don't even remember it all. But how do you, at the first place, being involved as a Putra Putri Batik Nusantara, and especially you, Bayu, it's you joined in 2012, right? It's still on the very early days from where the organization was founded. And is it like a calling because you really love batik, and okay, I have to join this?
Interesting question, Aisha. Because I grew up with culture from the very early age. Like my mom and dad taught me about music, about culture, about how to appreciate our culture. Then after becoming tourism ambassador of my city back then in 2011, I was getting the information regarding this election, Putra Putri Batik Nusantara, because one of my senior was like joining the very first edition. So I was like saying, oh, this is such an interesting opportunity for me, because for me, joining something like this is not only about the mission, it's not only about how we do the program, but also how you can do the networking, broaden your network in order to get more opportunities, more lessons, more knowledge, and more growth, you know. So becoming a person who is really love and passionate about the culture itself and the arts, and finding Putra Putri Batik, I think it's kind of the universe who like uniting me with the Putra Putri Nusantara. And turns out I cannot leave since then. Like the rest is history up until today that I'm still here. But also, I believe that because we give something different in Putra Putri Batik, we are not only like showing the beauty of the Putra Putri, how to like do catwalk on stage, no, but we like truly sitting on the floor telling people how to do batik, and also we get a lot of trainings regarding etiquette, regarding personality, regarding how to appreciate others and all the things. So actually, joining Putra Putri Batik is like a moment when you are actually starting to grow yourself. And I have no regret joining Putra Putri Batik up until today.
Wow. Listening to your story makes me want to join Putra Batik as well. And maybe you could share some insights to all this young generation that wants to be the next Putra Putri Batik Nusantara. What is the criteria? Is there any specific like knowledge or education or maybe physical criteria? Height? I mean, as I can see that we have the story before about you having the vitiligo and stuff. Is there any difficulties with that criteria?
For criteria, of course, like any pageants, we still do have some physical criteria, age restrictions as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's 18 to 25 years old,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
Then,
no, it's close for us.
don't worry, don't worry. This year we add some more. So this year we add to 27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 27 tahun,
Yeah.
27 years
Oh,
old.
okay.
Yes. Still cannot join?
Maybe we later, if you have like a senior Putra Putri
Oh, yeah.
Batik,
Mr. and Mrs.
Mr. and Mrs.
Mr.
Batik.
and Mrs. Batik, right?
But also, rather than the age restrictions, the physical appearance, because we have to make sure that the one who is speaking in the front of the camera is the one who is interesting enough in order to influence other people. But also, one of the most important thing is that to have Indonesian personality, Indonesian morality, so that we can be the representative of Indonesian youth, not only in Indonesia but also all over the world. And also, the one who is want to join Putra Putri Batik should be active in social media, because we want them in order to be the agent of provocation, in order to ask another young generation, in order to also do the movement, right? But regarding all of the insecurities, maybe physical condition or maybe skin color and I don't know, hair condition, maybe Salma can tell us more about those kind of insecurities, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, you can all see, right, clearly, even from like 5 kilometers away, there is something that is unique about my skin. So I have this white patches on my skin. It is an autoimmune condition. It's called vitiligo. I did not have this when I auditioned for Putra Putri Batik. But then during the time when I was working as Putri Batik Nusantara 2018, suddenly my skin started to change, so it started to grow these white patches. And at first, of course, as any woman with the society pressure and beauty standards, I was at first like insecure, panicked. I looked for ways to cover it up because in my head, I thought, oh, I am the Putri. Like, I have to be perfect. I have to look visually appealing. But then, as I'm also a doctor, so I learned about vitiligo, what it is, and I learned that it's actually not something shameful. I don't have to be ashamed of it. And what's truly amazing, I want to cry. in like the Putra Putri Batik Nusantara community, literally no one judged me for how I looked. At the end of the day, what's important is my contribution. It's how I can. It's not just when we're given like tasks like this, for example. We're not just sitting and just smiling, right? We have to speak up. We have to voice our opinions, and I think that's what truly matters.
Yeah.
Like what's inside is what truly matters. So, for everyone who's interested to join Putra Putri Batik, and if you feel like insecure in any sort of way, just try it out first. You never know if you don't try, and trust me, it will be so much better than what you expect, because I think I've experienced itself, and Putra Putri Batik was one of the reason why I can be confident in my own skin today as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's
wow.
very true.
We are very honored to have you guys here on Starting Point, sharing all about batik, but also it's more than that too.
Yes.
You are the ambassadors of Batik for the youth as well, and to spread it widely, the message to all Indonesians, to everyone in the world about Batik and the love of it. And then more to that is to love yourself in order to love your culture.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we have to ask for a closing statement from each of you, like maybe a short one, how to you can encourage the younger people, how you can also encourage them to contribute in preserving Batik as well.
Okay. So, I was an introverted guy, very insecure about myself back then. Even I was about to exit becoming Putra Batik Nusantara, but then I refused in order to accept my insecurities because I choose to stand up, I choose to change, I choose to start to grow for myself, and then I joined Putra Putri Batik Nusantara. That's the moment when I started to change my life, because there are people inside who encourage me in order to be a better version of me, and finding the potential of me and also make me who I am today, who can speak loudly all over the world regarding Batik itself, even can work something and also can create legacy for our nation just by doing simple action like buying the authentic Batik or creating my ideas for Batik preservation movements. So I believe that every single one of you at home, wherever you are and whenever you have insecurities, actually you have the opportunity and the rights to choose for yourself in order to become a Batik ambassador, to become the ambassador of life, ambassador of youth, and also to create something for your nation.
Very inspiring. And what about you, Salma? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I totally relate to what Kabayu said. We were not perfect when we joined Putra Putri. We're not perfect now, but since we joined Putra Putri Batik Nusantara, I think we grew like 10,000 times into a much better person. And I was a person who also struggled with what is my life purpose, why am I here? And I think learning about Batik, about its process, about how actually me as part of the young generation is very important. I have a very important role in preserving Batik. It gives me a sense of purpose as well. It gives me, this is something bigger than myself. So I think in a time where we have so many reasons that makes us difficult sometimes to love this country, I think Batik gives us a million reasons to love Indonesia.
Wow, it's amazing, it's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio today on the very special occasion, Batik, Indonesian Batik Day. Unfortunately, time has limited us. These very inspiring stories about the Batik and the world experiences that you have already. So, I'm Ferdi Teras and my partner.
I'm Aisha Fabian. We are very happy and we would like to wish you a happy Batik Day as well. Maybe it's not an excuse, it's a reason for you to go and look and buy your favorite Batik today. And see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.